All right, I overslept after staying up and watching the live letter. I don't have a whole lot of time to cover this because sports ball game starts in 17 minutes, so I'm probably going to miss parts of it. We're just going to get through this as quickly as possible. So, letter from the producer live, part 83, I think it is. I'm pretty sure. That happened last night. I did stay up and watch it. That was a mistake. I knew it was a mistake. I don't regret it. Anyway, we're going to go off the FF14 Reddit Discord. I think this is Reddit Discord. They have a unofficial translation of what was all said. And there actually is some other information in here that is very useful you didn't get just from watching. Because the live letter was, it was not live translated. It was just English text under bullet points. So let's go ahead and get things started. So they did show off right off the bat. They showed us the new trailer art that is in fact right here. The new patch is gonna be called Crossroads. There's actually a lot to go over here. First off, we have this character in the back, which looks suspiciously like Reen, with a dark wing, a light wing. Like, I think they're actually just like literally showing us every little bit in here, because that's most likely referring to the new Eden Ultimate or Futures Rewritten Ultimate. Yeah, FRU. We've just been calling it FRU because we're acronym fiends like that. We got this guy here, which I know nothing about other than the fact he's called the Dark Lord and from FF11. We have Bakul Jaja. We have this character that's also from 11, and we have the Cloud of Darkness. Why is the Cloud of Darkness there? We'll get to that. Trust me, we'll get to that. This is supposed to launch mid-November. I would suspect, based on history, that this live letter was on the 28th. So you count 1 week, 2 week, or this would be 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. There's our patch day. That is where I suspect it's going to drop on the 12th. The 19th is also in play. I would also suspect our Moogle tomes to start here on October 22nd. That is what I would expect. We'll see how things line up. Okay. When is Thanksgiving anyway? Is it the 29th? Is the 29th. So if you're a world first rater, you're hoping the 19th is the correct answer. Because then that means that's going to put FRU's drop on December 3rd. Because the Ultimate always drops 2 weeks after the patch. So if it's the 12th, it's going to be the 26th. That means Thanksgiving is going to drop in the middle of World First. And I hope that is not the case for their sake. Now, I do love that they said right here. As an experience player, you can probably already know what date it will be, but we can't confirm. Already the reaction here, November 12th. That's what I said, right? I just came up. Yeah, it is. Okay. Anyway, new MSQ. We get a few screenshots of it. I'm not going to go into too much detail on it because there's a lot we could assume from it, but it looks like we're going to be looking more at the northern parts of Dawntrail's MSQ. I thought we were going to go south first, touch on that Stormblood style, kind of get a nice little bow around all that, then go north where the real conflict happens. Our first Allied Society quest is going to be the Pelu Pelu. These were formerly known as Beast Tribe quests, which were then formerly known as, these were formerly known as Tribal quests, which were then formerly known as Beast Tribe quests. Why do we keep changing the name? I strongly suspect it's because it's going to eventually involve the Alexandrians, which call calling them a tribe is a little insulting. That's my suspicion. But yeah, Pello quests, they are most likely going to be our, unless they, for some reason, at the last minute, change the formula they've stuck with for many, many years. This is going to be your war and magic beast tribe quests first. That you can start doing at level 91, if memory serves. Might be able to do it at level 90. They'll automatically scale up. And it's a decent way to level your alt jobs. So that's all nice. We get a little bit of we get a little bit of color differencing there. I'm assuming that's gonna have something to do with the quest, etc., etc. Custom deliveries. These are for crafters and gatherers. It's going to involve this gal. It is too early in the morning for me to figure out her name. I just been calling her trolley wife this whole time. If you know, you know. So that's that. For those who, well, it's good to know this Discord tourney. I mean, for those who know custom deliveries, predicting these is impossible. I told people last night that I swear they just throw characters on a dartboard and just throw it. Additionally, there's going to be our additional role quests. If you complete all 5 of the role quests, you'll get one more. It's a pretty decently length quest chain that ties everything together. In addition, there's going to be more what you making quests, which I just learned is pronounced what you making. I learned that last night. This was intentional. This you could not tell me this was not intentional. Anyway, those quests are gonna be based on if you've already done the crafter and gatherer. I've just been calling them like, they've been called deliveries because they use the same kind of like structure. But it's like the city you know what it is. the city deliveries. You've done all those, you can go ahead and do that one. Neat. So let's me one more. And then of course, if we finally got actually hyped Nashu in S9. Inconceivably further Hildebrand quests. We got 2 little screenshots. We're not sure whose arm this is. We had some crazy crackpot theories last night about whose arm this is right here, putting out a fuse of a bomb. But inconceivably further Hildebrand adventures. I would expect that to be in 7.15, assuming November 12th is the correct date. That would put 7.15 2 months later, about January 14th, is when we should expect Hildebrand to return. That's just what I suspect. All right. New Game Plus for 7.0. If you want to go ahead and torture yourself again by going through one of the most controversial MSQs in recent memory, you can do that now. I mean, okay. Memeing aside, there are reasons to go back and take another look. See if there's something you missed, something along those lines, you know? There's always a reason to go back and double check, all right? So I'm not exclusively ripping on the story. I have my own feelings about it. I do plan on making a video on that. But, you know, that's that. You can also do new game support for MSQ, the job quests, and the role quests. Wait, what job quests? Oh, wait, Viper and Picto. Duh. So yeah, that'll be out there. This one caught us off by surprise. So ignore this line for a minute. All we saw was duty support for non-main scenario quests to be implemented moving forward. For non-main scenario quest dungeons. Here's the funny thing. We interpreted this at the moment, and we're really stupid for thinking this, by the way. And I was one of them. I was definitely very, very stupid. we took this as a thought that, wait, are we going to get more dungeons that are not MSQ? Because for the past 2 expansions, all we've gotten are MSQ dungeons during the patches. You only get 1 4-man, which then means your expert roulette is just 2 dungeons, which to grind on your capstones gets really, really boring. Even more so if you're an idiot like me and keeps an alt also at max level, like an idiot. But, you know, your hopes and dreams of a 3 dungeons being an expert roulette are shattered. As it turns out, Halatali will be the first one to get duty support, meaning that you can go into the dungeon with a group of NPCs. I cannot wait for the 1 melee duty support guy to chase after embers. I'll be blunt, all right? I don't care how much you do not want to interact with other people. Run Halatali with other people, please, because there are mechanics you're supposed to do in Halatali that we as players know should just be ignored. Like, duty support is always going to be slower than running it with normal people. It's going to be so much slower. So much slower running it with duty support. I'm just going to warn you that right now. Trust me. There's also a new Hall of the Novice updates. This is specifically going to be teaching battle mechanics that are not covered in Hall of Novice. I'm willing to bet a lot of you have not even done Hall of Novice. You probably should. Honestly, you really should. Especially if you plan on leveling other jobs, because you do have a ring that helps quite a bit. I'm going to show you things like the stack marker, how not to run away with it. The spread markers, how to not run away with that. And what this crazy, scary red arrow with yellow lines means. By the way, if you see this, you absolutely should run directly at the healer. They will love you for it. And by love, I mean murder you. Like you murdered them. So, you know, teaching new people about the newer markers. That's good stuff. Because before, all you had was the Hall of Novice, which teaches like the bare basics that are kind of out of date. And teach some kind of wrong ways to handle things like DPS scooping up ads and bringing them to the tank. We don't deal with ads. We just don't. For the most part, like the way we deal with ads when there are them is the thing just switches to AoEs, just does like 1 overpower, and that's it. They're all yours. It's not hard. So seeing these updates, good. Very good. BB update. This is gonna be the big thing with 7.1. This kind of started I don't know how it was in Shadowbringers, but in Endwalker, we saw not a lot of updates to PvP in 6.0, but 6.1, we basically saw the equivalent of everything that should have been there in the expansion for PvP being there in 6.1. All right. So they're talking right here about the extensive update to PvP action, execution, and hit detection. They're going to be tweaking how various little things are done. They actually give an example here, and this is why I wanted to use the translated version. Yoshibi said specifically, we made changes to hit detection. A good example are the Machinist LB and the Primal Rend on Warrior. A lot of times the animation hasn't gone fully off yet, but the effect like stuns registered on you. This is changing now, and you can react with shields once you see the animation start. So instances of but I shielded or healed should be reduced by a lot. Good. Honestly good, because like the order of operations that some skills seem to have always felt off in PvP. And then of course there's gonna be a massive amount of PvP job action additions and adjustments. I fully expect a whole lot of jobs. I would just expect almost across the board, if they want to keep everything, every single job to 12 buttons, that most likely expect a full rework of your job. I would just expect it, because they're going to try and implement all the skills that were implemented in 7.0 into PvP in 7.1 with their own PvP twists on it. There's going to be major changes. New dungeon is going to be at Uwata Field. I ain't pronouncing that correctly. I'm not even going to try. Which gives off a very strange vibe. And I have a feeling that this kind of dark, futuristic, kind of Resident Evil kind of vibe. First off, I love the vibe of this dungeon. Second, I got a feeling we're going to learn about where our little miracle baby came from and what that's going to involve. So we're going to see. We're going to see. They also make a comment here. There's glass there. If we have a wall of glass in FF14, usually it breaks. Yeah. Yeah. It's probably going to. Then, of course, we got updates on our next Alliance raid, Echoes of Vana'diel. This is going to be an FF11, FF14 crossover raid. So this is going to be more along the lines of Nier or Ivalice, or this is not going to be an original story. Do not expect an original story. This is going to be like a crossover retelling kind of thing. All right. For lore nuts, just don't. Someone's going to go ahead and say like, oh man, they're going to go ahead and make FF11 canon. Well, we got some screenshots. We got this little guy right here, which honestly, like the low polyness of it, I think they're trying to go for they're trying to bring in the look of FF11 into 14. I'm not going to lie though. Some of the sharp edges and whatnot in these lanterns, it reminds me of Ragnarok Online. It really, really does. Which then didn't help that apparently the first one's going to be called Juno, the First Walk. I don't know anything about FF11. I'll be honest. It's one of the ones that I know the least amount. So we'll have to wait and see how things go. Of course, we have Extreme Trial 3, Sfien's Burden coming out. We can see how that ends up going. They gave us a little bit of a tease with this picture. I could stare at this all day and just be like, okay, I don't know. Other than the fact that maybe we end up on 2 platforms and swapping between the 2 puts us on Icebridge. So you better enter it on a straight line or else. I can't glean any more than that. Unreal Trials are back. It's going to start with the Jade Stoa. I hope you liked. Did you like dodging the hearts and Honeybee Lovely? Well, good. The OG guy's here for you now. Oh, no. Then next up was something that was teased at us quite a bit. And in fact, Yoshi B said he was talking about in a few interviews already. That is Chaotic Alliance Raid. These look like they're going to be very similar to Unreal's, but way more of a reimagining. The first one is going to be the Cloud of Darkness, which kind of tells me that the Chaotic Alliance raids are going to, in fact, be just one boss, which I'm honestly kind of fine with. Because the thought of doing 4 back-to-back hard encounters in a row, not that appealing. I think it's one of the biggest problems Criterion has with a non-Savage group, or a non-Ultimate group for that fact. It's too much. One after the other. It really is. So I think this is a good move by them. The question is, though, how hard is chaotic difficulty. Well, they said they're aiming for a extreme level difficulty. Where is that line? Oh, here it is. Yoshibi said we wanted to have a sort of extreme feel, but then the developer, Mr. Ozma, for those who don't know, Mr. Ozma is the code name for the designer of Dragon Song Reprisal, said that, oops, it turned out a bit more savage and extreme. They only have this one planned for now, and depending on feedback, we'll add more in the future. So I would not expect another chaotic alliance raid until 7.3 at the very earliest. That's just my opinion. And if you want a tease of how hard this can get, well, we get this cool screenshot here. Actually, we got two. First, we got this one here that showed like, hey, everything's about to vanish except for there, and this platform here. Very similar to what we've seen in, what's it call it? I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, P7S. Agdistus. Where she slams the circular arena, splits into 3. So we see that, and then in fact we even see later on, yep, sure enough, confirmation of that. Cloud moves into the middle. We get an Atomos hitting to there, possibly bouncing, maybe to the Atomos pointing to there, meaning that this will explode. I don't know. We have numeration towers. One person must go there. One person must go there. 3 people must be here. 3 people must be there. 2 must be there. 2 must be there. You know, there's a lot of enumerations going on here. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting, to say the least. They'll have more on that in the next public producer live letter. But it's a changed reward system that does give incentive to repeatedly clear and help out. I don't want to call it savage. I don't think it's on the level of a 4th savage floor. And I've been telling people this when the rumors were going about, that I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's not like they're going to go ahead and make a 24-man body check. That's unrealistic. Again, a reminder that there's gonna be a new ultimate raid. I've been calling it Futures Rewritten Ultimate. We get 2 screenshots of it. Daddy Thancred, and of course Lawgriff. Gaia. The Oracle of Darkness. We get to see all that. Not a whole lot to really glean from it, unless you want to make major assumptions, which. The only people, honestly, like the only people who are really making major assumptions on this right now are either A, World First Raiders, or B, people who really want to do an ultimate in content. Oh God. And honestly, if I was them, I would just be like, just wait. Just wait to see what it actually means before going crazy. So we'll have to go ahead and wait and see how this all goes. In an update that no one saw coming, and if someone did tell you they saw it coming, you call them a liar, because they are. There's an update to Dolmen Mahjong, where there's going to be voice reaction and commentary from the Scions. What does this mean? I don't know. Does this mean you can play against the Scions? I'd actually be down for that, because I swear there's only 2 kinds of people who play Dolmen Mahjong on FF14. People have no idea what they're doing, and people who I swear are 80-year-old gurus at the game and are just so good, they will absolutely fucking annihilate you. Those are the only 2 kinds of people that play this game. Somehow I'm in the middle, or I end up with such bad luck I don't compete. But they only show JP voices, obviously, because it's not the JP convention. I don't know if we're going to see any in English. If we do, that would be hilarious. I actually would not mind if this was Japanese only. I really would not. We'll have to wait and see how things go down with that. There's also an update to housing, which, you know, turned out to not be a whole lot. What it is that you can now tweak the interior design of your house, and this apparently affects larges the most because larges have a whole lot of pillars they have to work around to match any location at all. So some basic structures inside the house are locked to where you bought the house. Ceilings in the Goblet are different than ceilings in Ishgard, are different than ceilings in Gridania. You get the idea. You can now change that. No, not now, but when the patch comes out, you'll be able to change that. And they gave us some examples. They also showed up that, in fact, there's going to be new interior designs entirely. Like this one that is all white and looks... If it weren't for the brown trim on the stairs, I would say it is very near Automata. And I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for near houses. Ugh. It also doesn't help we just finished ending C of Near Automata on stream yesterday, so twitch.tv/Falcon. Anyway, so that's gonna be an interesting little thing to see what's all updated with that, what all options there are, and what we have to craft as FCs down the road. Now, here's the real reason why I wanted the translated notes, because this I saw last night. And this was not mentioned at all in English subtitles. All right. You've had housing, had housing since 2.1. We finally made it. Interior without pillars. Reforming is very expensive in real life. We're giving it to you for free as often as you want. But what if you already have items placed? We're putting it all in the storage. You don't have to do it manually one by one, but you do have to replace them. So if you do swap the look, furniture all goes back into storage. Oof. Oof. That's a big oof. I don't think people are going to be ready for that. But here's the thing that actually has me legitimately excited. We were also thinking, once you enter a house, it's basically a different dimension, right? And we give you the interior changes for free, but we were thinking, once you enter a small house, why can't it be a large inside? Translator notes this is not for 7.1, but in the future, you can select the internal size of your house. You can change it as often as you want, but it will cost gil. I'm assuming that means that Yoshi P did say that, but they couldn't translate it directly and just want to just like get the gist of it. And then of course we got merch news, new soundtracks out. Primal's footage is now available. Merch. Oh yeah, tabletop RPGs coming out. Merch. And that's it. That's pretty much it. 7 point, like, honestly, original report said it was going to go until 3 a.m. my time. It did not. It went to about 2. So pretty much right before I've been going to bed lately anyway, and me. A lot of information in there, not a whole lot of details. But so far, the confirmation that there is going to be high-end 24-mans is very, very interesting. The fact that, you know, there's going to be some major changes coming to housing and going to solve a lot of the housing problems people have. I'll tell you this right now, even though I have plans for larges in my on my alt, I still want to go ahead and get a large lot only because I like the large look of the exterior of the current house I have, because it's a much more pleasing hot spring that's built into it on a large than it is on a medium. I'm still gonna be going for Housing Ultimate. It does mean though that a lot of people, because there's a ton of people who get larges, way more than you'd think, by the way, and then design it to close off most of the large to make it a more modern aesthetic to some other kind of apartment. Those people might actually want to get rid of their current larges and move to a small, just so that the outside matches the inside they've done when that finally drops. So that's something that could be very interesting from the housing point of view. However, the biggest thing they can do to end the housing problems is get rid of the company workshop. I know that sounds bizarre, but until you no longer tie the company workshop to the house, this problem will continue. The housing problems will continue. Or just get rid of the whole system entirely. But they're not going to, because it's needed. They need to go ahead and make it so that guild workshops or something, or that housing, or that free company workshops are something you do at the grand company rather than at a house. Because tons of people are making FCs, tons of people are going ahead and using it to go ahead and farm money, a lot of gil, and ruining the economy that way. That's one of the main problems to housing districts. One of the biggest problems. That's one of the first things that needs to be done. There's a lot of things that need to be done to fix the housing issue, but that's one of the big ones. That's just the unfortunate truth. That being said, though, there are a lot of smalls around. So, I mean, if you just want a small and then have it TARDIS into a large on the inside, by all means, it's probably going to be pretty doable, all things considered. But that's all I got. I am now 15 minutes late to actually watch the game. I got to go quickly throw this into the editing machine and get it up. Take care. Bye-bye.